Chicken Chong, Chicken Chong, Chicken Chong. They're two sales dudes from a cloud voice company, but with a superpower that you wouldn't believe. Monday mornings they transform into some dope co-hosts with sports, pranks, and jokes. It's business, breakfast, and banter. Just try and hold back your laughter, cause it's some really funny spit out your coffee kinda quick wit. So grab a Pop-Tart and let the work week start. Momentum Mondays, yeah, with Chuck and Sean. Chuck and Sean. Momentum Mondays, yeah, with Chuck and Sean. Chuck and Sean, Chuck and Sean, Chuck and Sean.
This episode of Momentum Mondays is brought to you by Polly. Command the conversation with confidence.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Chuck. Man, episode number 4. We're having some fun now, aren't we?
We absolutely are. I'll tell you a little story. When I was younger, I was 5 years old. I could name every Boston Bruin, and my favorite player was number 4, Bobby Orr. Here we are with our favorite partner so far.
So Bobby Orr, wasn't he like a great three-point shooter or something?
That was Larry Bird. But Bobby Orr was a hockey player.
Oh,
Greatest
man.
defenseman ever to play.
Can't say I paid much attention to hockey, Chuck. But listen, I will tell you, having a lot of fun is what we've done here. We've been actually getting some notoriety. I think our fan base is increasing by about 10 now, or 12. Yeah. We've been asked to be on a couple shows. I think last week you did a taping with, well, who was it? Richard Murray for his Hidden Gems. Chris Schubert over at Microcorp posted a sit down that he and I did in his hot seat. But listen, in each one we talked about the fun that we're having, and you know, you and I've worked a long time together, so we've had a lot of fun over the years. But my more favorable memory of the fun that we had was back at our previous company. You had set up a one-on-one with me. And I remember walking into that one-on-one, and I'm sitting there and I'm prepared. I had all my information to talk about funnel ads and all the things that our guests, especially Salesforce. We were definitely going to talk about Salesforce. But instead, I noticed like you were just sitting there with your phone. And I asked you at one point, like, what are you doing? And Chuck, do you remember sending me what you had done on your phone the whole time I was going through my one-on-one? I think we have some pictures to show you exactly what you were doing the entire time.
So Snapchat.
Yeah, you were putting filters on my face the whole time. I thought we were talking about a one-on-one. So work hard, play hard. That's been our mantra. Yeah, there's my favorite one with bunny ears. So listen, it's been a fun ride so far. I know we've taken that banter and excitement over here to momentum. So what else?
Well, let's continue. Let's think about over the last couple of years. I know the last 12 months we haven't traveled much, but I do recall about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you and I were in the airport about to board a plane, and we started talking about a show that I was watching, Impractical Jokers. Oh, yeah. And just going through some examples of what they've been doing and some of the laughter we're having, whatever. Well, we get on the plane sitting in first class. Of course, you get the window aisle seat, which is always the best seat. And I'm in the window seat. Well, some guy gets on the plane right next to me with a smash burger. He's unwrapping this thing. He's got his fries going. He's got everything ready. And I'm just looking like, oh, my goodness. And sure enough, I get the challenge. Sean,
oh, yeah.
What did you challenge me to do?
So if you guys have seen that show, the whole show is predicated upon them challenging each other. And I remember sitting there in first class, and as Chuck said, the smell permeated through everywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who's sitting there eating right now? We haven't even taken off. And I look over and it's Chuck's seatmate. And so I texted him, I said, challenge, you have to put your face as close as you possibly can to his food, lean over and put your face all the way down in his food till he either says, can I help you, or would you like a bite? And Chuck, did you do it?
Absolutely, I did it. I leaned in close as I can, and I said, man, that smells fantastic. And it was like one of those Impossible burgers. It wasn't even meat. It was some like black bean burger or something, but I did it.
But what happens
But then I get you back in the connection to Charlotte. In the connection to Charlotte. I see this elderly woman there sitting with her daughter. Tell us what happened, Sean.
So the whole theme, if you guys know the show, is when one challenge is issued, that person then gets to issue another challenge. So yeah, we're sitting in the airport waiting to board a flight, and Chuck and I are looking, and right in front of us, across from us, is an elderly woman, which appears to be her daughter, and her daughter is rubbing lotion on her mom's hands. And we're sitting there thinking, what a sweet moment. And Chuck leans over and goes, challenge. And I'm like, what? He goes, you have to hold your hand out and ask the daughter to rub lotion on your hands. And I'm thinking, oh, good night. I'm not doing that. And well, as I did, I reached my hand out and the lady looked at me and I said, would you mind rubbing some lotion on mine? And she said, no, thank you. I won't be doing that. So I went home with dry skin that day, Chuck.
But to this day, the number one, my favorite challenge so far was at an executive offsite with about 25 leaders within the organization sitting at a public restaurant. Sean, what did you do?
Oh, you probably can't tell on film, but now I'm embarrassed. So we're sitting at dinner. We're in a public restaurant. We have all of our C-level executives. Our guest even knows Todd Zittrauer. We were just introducing to the company our new CFO, et cetera. And we're sitting in this, what I thought was a very nice, high-class restaurant. And Chuck says, challenge. And I'm like, oh, no, not now. And he says, you have to get up in front of everybody in the restaurant and do the Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby prayer. And I'm telling you this, there's some things I would do, but this one was not going to happen. And after some coercing and you can't back out, you can't back out, you can't back out, I literally stood up. And that first moment, all right, so I built up the courage and I stand up and I just yell in the restaurant, you know, but before I do, Chuck goes, hey, in order to really sell this, you got to do your best Southern accent. So I stand up and I go, hey, everybody, may I have your attention, please? I want to go ahead. And if y'all don't mind, we're sitting here with our entire team. And before we eat, I'd like to just pray for the team. And at that moment, this woman sitting next to us who was not with our company leans over and says, oh, bless your heart, son. You go right ahead. I'll help you get the restaurant quiet. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I'm going to mock this prayer. And so I'm going, do you know where she even knows what I'm going to say? So sure enough, I start off the prayer and Todd Zittrauer, our CEO's looking at me and I go, dear baby Jesus, sweet 8 pounds, 6 ounce baby Christmas Jesus, you and your tiny fleece diapers watching your baby Einstein videos. And oh my gosh, at that point, the whole restaurant just started cracking up. So yeah, thanks, Chuck. That's my most memorable challenge so far.
Well, we've worked together now, I think 18, 20 years. So we will continue with our work hard, play hard theme.
Absolutely. Hey, you ready to meet our next guest?
I am.
I will tell you, though, this is probably one of my more favorite guests. I've loved the guests we've had, John Anderson, Catherine Barenbrinker, Chris Schubert. But our next guest is a former stand-in for Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy. He aspired to be a pro poker player in Las Vegas and coined the phrase, it's just chips. Mike is the founder and CEO of Stratus IP in Philadelphia. He is one of our largest partners and good friend to both Chuck and I. We have spent many of days on the golf course and thoroughly appreciate all the business and partnership he has brought to Momentum over the years. Would you please welcome Mike Dlug?
Mike's favorite song.
I was waiting. I wanted to know what it was.
Into the night, and then you put your arms around me and you tumble to the ground, and then you say,
I think we're alone now.
Mike.
You know that's terrible, right?
Mike, we're alone now. You can speak freely. Welcome, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me. Looking forward to taping some of our banter.
Well, let me tell you this, Mike. Before we get started, I got a surprise for you. So I came across some video of you a couple months ago with, I think it was your childhood friend, Ralph. Okay, so it's about 25 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. But I want you to take a listen to this, and maybe you can help explain, because I think it had to do with something like Bruce Lee and a baboon. I don't know. Dave, roll the footage.
And they have back muscles?
They actually eat your face. They tear your face off.
Yeah, they will
off your
kill
skull. That's what they
in
do.
a minute.
So you'd rather face Bruce Lee?
I'd rather face 30 Bruce Lees before I face one baboon.
What in your mind was going? What was going through your mind? I mean, you said to Ralph, or ask Ralph, would you rather, I think you said, take on Bruce Lee or a baboon? What was that all about?
All right. So I have been brothers with these guys since childhood, and there's a few running jokes, arguments, commentary that you guys got brought into late at night after a few holes of golf and some steak and some whiskey, I guess. But yes, the argument goes, Ralph is 6'4", I'm 6'2". The rest of my buddies are all big guys. Bruce Lee was 5'8". They are convinced that they could smother Bruce Lee in a corner and never let him up to use any of that kung fu kicking stuff, right? And that they'd rather fight Bruce Lee than a bunch of orangutans if that was the alternative. Because if you think about it, orangutans are doing pull-ups all day, chin-ups all day. Those things are fit and angry and rip your head off, and they think they could smother Bruce Lee. I'm on the other side of it. It was interesting to bring you guys and your thoughts into it. But yeah, those are some of the high level thinking that goes on after a long day of golfing and quite frankly hanging out with the Momentum squad.
By the way, there's a line in Every Which Way But Loose, the difference between an orangutan and a baboon. And I think it's Clint Eastwood that says the orangutan has 12 ribs. So I think Ralph was referring to baboons and the fact that they had teeth that could eat your face off in a minute is what he
Correct.
said.
If you try to smother a baboon, they're gonna bite you. Bruce Lee's not biting. He's trying to kick and chop and listen. And there's a lot, there's a lot goes into it. But yes, that I appreciate you bringing that up. I thought you were going to bring up the heads up game that we played that night too. That was pretty fun. It was a good time.
I think we tapped out at that point. So, well, listen, Mike, we do appreciate you being here. I think the friendship goes long with both Chuck and I, certainly with Momentum. But for those watching, tell us a little bit about Stratus IP. Tell us about how it came about, how you found it, the concept of your business. And what you guys do, not just in the Philadelphia market, but, all throughout PA and your team. So tell us.
Sure. So I fell into this industry like so many of us. I was looking for a sales job, wound up selling local long distance 18, 19 years ago for a local CLEC in the Philadelphia area. I learned it was a sales and support organization. I saw how it was done correctly, how to take care of customers, how to take care of your employees. And it was a lot of fun. Work hard, played hard. The guys I came into the industry with, a lot of them are with us at Stratus IP now. So it's been great. Then we went through some mergers and acquisitions, and I saw how it was not done properly, how not to treat customers. And what I took away from that was, there's a few things you need to do to make sure you take care of your customers, and we've implemented them at Stratus. So fast forward, I wound up leaving that company as a top sales guy. Quality of life was terrible. Leadership was terrible. And it was time to go. A year and a half later, I looked at my wife. Economy was tanked. And I said, I think I want to go back. This time I want to do it on my own. And she looked at me and said, what are you waiting for? Do it. So with the support of my family and some friends, I literally started Stratus IP with a phone, a lead list, and a computer. And off we went. So now we built this organization 10 plus years later. We are a direct to market master agency. The difference for those of you that are wondering what that means is we don't have thousands of sub agents. We have a direct sales team, a team of great SDRs that set appointments for them. And once it's sold, turn it over to our PM team. And then we have a client care department that takes care of bill reviews, getting in line with the carriers for support of the customer. We very much want to own the relationship in conjunction with our carriers. And now we've gotten to the point where, we cover pretty much the nation, but we have big plans to keep growing. We work with a very, very select group of carriers. Of course, Momentum is, if not our top carrier, you're one of our, we'll say, go-to carriers, so we don't insult anybody else, right? But we sell a commodity. This is very much people-oriented, experience-oriented, and we built Stratus IP around it. We pride ourselves in our culture at Stratus. We don't hide from the fact that we're a sales organization. We love it. Work hard, play hard. I heard you mention that earlier in the broadcast. Surround myself with great people to fill all the knowledge gaps that I have. We're trying to run a company, which are a lot. So, you know, very happy, very content where I'm at. And working with you guys has been an absolute pleasure. You know, Sean, before I turn it back over to you and Chuck, I see you on a call, and I immediately want to go to Salesforce and check our funnel. I see Sean. I feel like a funnel check is due. So would you like to go over our 30, 60, 90 right now, Sean, or is this a bad time for you?
Well, Mike, I don't want to do this on a broadcast on Monday morning where everybody can hear us. I mean, certainly but yes, that is part of this show at the end. We'll do that at the end. We'll do your funnel check.
Fair enough.
You know, Mike, you do have a great organization. You have a nice crew there, and you're right. It's the people. Your people are fantastic. So we love working with Stratus. I actually forgot to mention, though, do you notice Sean's wearing the same shirt that I took those pictures in 5 years ago? I just realized he's wearing the same shirt.
So let me tell a quick story if I could, Chuck. So one of the first times I met your counterpart there, Sean, was at a craps table in Las Vegas, of all places. I mean, as I tell my wife, meetings can break out anywhere. I'm always working. This one just happened to break out at a craps table. I believe it was yourself. Todd was there. A couple of Stratus IP friends and family, as always, right? Surround yourself with good people. So we're trying to teach Sean this game of craps. And Chuck's like, hey, he's a good dude. You're going to work with him a lot more. He's a leader in this industry, this and that. I look over, he puts his hand out, and all I see is a pink shirt. Chuck is building this up as some big guy. This is going to be a lot of fun. And he puts like $1 chip down with a pink shirt. I said, Sean, what are you? I said, I've never. I said, hey, Chuck, what's Pinky doing here? Is this guy really? So of course, Sean is wearing that shirt today.
I wore it in your honor, Mike. The whole night, if you remember, you kept saying to the craps table workers, "Hey, give Pinky some more chips." The guy was like, "Who are you talking about?"
Yeah, that was the first of a long growing list of good times with you guys, and it just goes to show you, you know, you can enjoy working and having a career and surrounding yourself with people that you enjoy. And you guys are certainly right up there between craps tables and you know, golf courses and, you know, wherever else we've met. Cigar bars, you know, Chuck, I feel like I do have a little bit of ownership in your love for whiskey, taking you to the cigar bar in Philly. And I think we found a blacklist of special whiskeys that you were telling your buddy back in Kentucky, right? So I do feel like every time I see your picture that, oh, look at that, Chuck still likes it.
That's exactly right. You know, what's interesting too, I didn't realize this, I should have said this on the front end of this call, is happy birthday, Mike. I did not realize it was your birthday.
Awesome.
I think 3 years ago we met at the exact same time for your birthday. Dave, do we have a picture of Mike's birthday from 3 years ago?
Mike, happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday.
There he is.
All right, keep it up. We're going to hang out again at some point. We're going to hang around again at some point, you know?
No, Mike, we really appreciate the partnership. The friendship is just as important as the partnership, and it's the people you work with. So as we close out today, why Momentum? Tell us a little bit about your experiences with Momentum as we close out today. You know,
at Stratus, we don't have a product. Okay, we our product, and what I tell everybody, our product is our word, our reputation. So when you sit in front of somebody and ask them for their business, $5,000 biller, $1,000 biller, it almost doesn't matter because they're responsible for it, right? We make a recommendation to our prospective customer, and it's momentum. It's your products, it's your service, and it's our reputation. So it's very important to us that we align ourselves with carriers that can, quite frankly, deliver on everything that we sit in front of somebody. Because if not, we get the phone call and say, hey, why did you recommend them, right? And that's not where we want to be. We've tripled in size in the last 2 years, in no small part thanks to our partnership over the last 3-4 years with Momentum. because you guys have delivered time in and time again, time out. So long story short is, I could say the white glove implementation. I can say the people. I've heard those on the previous episodes, right? In all reality, you guys back up our word. Stratus IP owns our reputation and what we say in our word, and we have to. And if our carriers don't hold up their end of the bargain, then our word means nothing. We're having success because you guys have been delivering and continue to do so. So, as of, last Thursday and Friday, bringing some more deals in. It's not going to stop anytime soon. So we thank you for that. But that's why momentum.
Absolutely appreciate that, Mike. And thank you very much for the partnership, the friendship. Let's continue to move forward and continue to close business. Thanks again for joining us today, Mike. Much appreciated.
Mike, as always.
See you, Pinky.
As always, a pleasure. Thanks, Mike. Chuck, that was exciting, man. In all sincerity, we do have a lot of fun together with Stratus and his team, especially Mike, but more importantly, we have a lot of success together, and I think that's important. So, Mike, thank you again for being a guest on our show.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of a kind. We should have mentioned also, this is the first week we're going live with now the baseball season. We're about a week into the baseball season. Right. How's your brother doing? I know he's an umpire in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So for those who don't know, my brother Paul, one of my older brothers, is a MLB umpire, has been for over 20-something years. And, Chuck was the fortunate benefactor. At one point, we did an auction, and Chuck actually won a pass for he and a guest for any MLB game throughout the entire year. And so there's
any amount of games. I went to like 40 games that year.
Yeah, and so thanks for asking. I know baseball season's kicking off. Paul's actually been out of spring training. I think it was his first year in, 20 plus years where he didn't do spring training. And I think just this past weekend, he was at the house. Chuck, he had surgery. And so it wasn't a major surgery. It was on one, not the other. But he's going to do well. And I think he's going to come back this year and have a good season. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, no, I know it's hard, especially when your eyes are going at that age, to have surgery. Why do you only have surgery on one eye? I saw some calls last year. I'm just curious why only one eye.
It was not his eyes. It was his foot. And so, yeah, I think maybe it was his eyes. He always said people seem to have a better view than him up in the stands. So, yeah, I'll be sure and make sure he watches this part.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, thanks again. Another great Momentum Monday. Again, thinking about Momentum, we offer a complete solution. You're looking for hosted voice services, contact center services, SIP trunking services, SD-WAN solutions, fiber connectivity, network connectivity, voice analytics, all from one provider. So thanks again for watching Momentum Mondays. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Happy Monday.